Thanks for joining us and listening to another God-lived and God-breathed message by Darius Nelms. Our mission is to increase our generation standard back to God's standard of excellence and kingdom living through personal development, relational wisdom, business management, and faith increase. Our aim is that this message inspires and infuses you to reach your next level of living and helps you discover your rightful place in God's kingdom. Now, let's dive into the message.
Welcome to another episode of Think Tank Tuesday, where we meet every other Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time to discuss the mind of God, the precepts of God, and the principles of God. Today, we're going to be really quick. We're going to be about 15 minutes or so, and we're going to be talking about it's time to grow up, right? It's time to grow up. Go with me to 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 2 through 3. 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 2 through 3, NIV version. It says, like newborn babies, crave pure spiritual milk, so that by it you may grow up in your salvation, now that you have tasted that the Lord is good. What we need to understand is that our current generation is falling further and further away from God instead of growing in God. Many people are growing away from God. And there's a problem that now exists. Too much information. Too much information is our problem. Because part of the American financial economy and even the digital economy is consumerism. America is one of the most unhealthiest nations because of our food environment, and we struggle with obesity as a nation because we consume and we ingest the wrong stuff. So it is digitally. We follow the wrong people. We listen to the wrong things, and we don't investigate anything. Because as much access to information as we have, we don't study or investigate anything in its right or proper context. We are without excuse to be as ignorant as we currently are. And Jesus himself knew not to get excited at people's initial claims of affiliation with him. John chapter 2, verse 23 through 25. It says, now while he was in Jerusalem at the Passover festival, many people saw the signs that he was performing and believed in him. So they believed based off of the signs that they saw him performing. But it says, but Jesus would not entrust himself to them, for he knew all people. He did not need any testimony about mankind, for he knew what was in each person. Because Jesus knew that there were four types of people in the world. And he teaches about it in Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 through 8 and verses 18 through 23, where he talks about the seed. So I'm just going to kind of skip around here a little bit for the sake of time. So I want you to jot down for your notes, Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 through 8 and verses 18 through 23. So as Jesus was teaching, you know, he told them many parables about a farmer going out to sow the seed, and he talked about how the farmer scattered seed and some fell along the path and the birds came and ate it up. You know, some seed fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil, and it sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. Then he says when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, they withered away because they had no root. Then verse 7 says, you know, other seed fell amongst the thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Verse 8 says, still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 160 and 30 times what was sown. And then when we jump down to verse 18, it says, listen to what the parable of the sower means, that anyone who hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. And this is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word. So you're hearing this word right now, you receive it with joy, but since they have no root, it only lasts a short time. So in about 3 days, everything that I'm teaching you now is not even going to be remembered. And so when trouble and persecution comes because of the word, meaning that when tests, trials, tribulations are going to come in your life, you're going to quickly fall away, as it says in verse 21. Then verse 22 says, the seed falling amongst the thorn refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of life and deceitfulness of wealth choke out the world, meaning that when you get some money, when you get a bag, when you get the success that you want, you're going to choke away and you're going to fall away and you're going to forget the God that blessed you, making it unfruitful. And then verse 23 says, but the seed falling on good soil, which is hopefully this is you listening, refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. And this is the one who produces a crop yielding 160 or 30 times what was sown. And so Jesus gives us four types of people, you know, and one person that he gives us is a person that lacks kingdom understanding, meaning, having a preconceived ideas about God. And I've taught about this before, that kingdom ideas contradict embedded beliefs or political affiliations and interests. And you're too preoccupied mentally with the things that you are too preoccupied with other things that you can't grasp the message of the kingdom. The second person that Jesus gives is a person who lacks depth. And this person likes the idea of the kingdom. They like the idea of Jesus, but it doesn't stick. They are simply motivated to hear new information without the motivation toward implementation. And these are people who watch hype videos and who love to have good conversations for a short while, but then they don't go and practice the conversations and the practicality of the conversations that they're having. And so when adversity comes, they fold and they forget everything that was taught. And then Jesus gives us a third person, one who is overly consumed with the worries of life. A person who worries nonstop, who can't sleep at night because of life's problems and because of the strain of life. And it always seems like the problems in their life get the spotlight. They are overly consumed and overrun by life. This person is stressed, needing to be in control, and they make careless mistakes that harm their future. And then Jesus gives us a fourth person, which is a person who understands the detail of the kingdom. And I hope this is you, because this person is open-minded. They ask plenty of questions. They implement the kingdom principles that they learn about. They know God intimately and experientially. They're curious about God. They're curious about the mind of God, and they are living a result-driven life. You look at their life and you see productivity and some sort of prosperity and a promising future based on their current position in life. And every move that they make is a move to get closer to their destiny and to live according to God's kingdom standard and in kingdom's program. Because we have a gospel here in America that is not a biblical gospel and that is not worthwhile or sustainable. Because instead of being mature spiritually and having the depth for the mind of God, we are socially immature, shallow, and attracted to everything that isn't the truth or disguises itself as the truth. And so when we read Hebrews chapter 5, verse 11 through 14, it rebukes us. And it says, we have much to say about this, but it is hard to make it clear to you because you no longer try to understand. Oh my gosh, who is this for? Who is this for? I ain't even got into the full verse yet. And it said it's hard to make it clear because you no longer try to understand the ways of God. In fact, as it continues to read, though by this time you ought to be teachers. See, as somebody that's listening to this, you should be teaching other people the ways of God because you've practiced it in your life and you've seen the outcome. And although you should be now teachers, you need someone to teach you the elementary truths of God's word all over again. So you made progress, but then you fell off and now you got to start all the way over. You need milk, not solid food, as it continues to read. Anyone who lives on milk, being still an infant, is not acquainted with the teaching about righteousness. But solid food for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good and evil. Because what we need to learn about that and take from that is our mental faculty should grow to be able to discern and discriminate between God's standard and the world's standard, between good and evil, between right and wrong, between the truth and a lie. Yet because of our choice of immaturity, keep in mind I said our choice of immaturity, we are, as Ephesians chapter 4, verse 14 says, although we are supposed to be built up to reach the unity and faith and the knowledge of the Son of Jesus Christ and become mature, attaining the whole measure of the fullness in Christ, then we will no longer be infants, tossed back and forth by the waves and blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by the cunning and craftiness of people and their deceitful scheming. So we shouldn't be tossed to and fro by every wave of teaching. Every video that pop up on your YouTube feed, you click on and you watch and you get into a whole rabbit hole about, and you don't even know what to believe. On Instagram, you follow any and everybody. You follow conspiracy theorists and things alike. And you get into these rabbit holes on TikTok. You catching all of these videos of things with no substantial proof. With no substantial proof. You hadn't read a book. You hadn't gone to the local library and cracked open a book to see people that have actually dedicated their lives to a thing or to a topic, to provide substantial evidence for what it is that you believe, but you just take a 30-second TikTok video, you take that and you run with it. You take a 15-minute YouTube video and you take that and run with it, and you don't investigate and do your own due diligence and your own research, because it's time for us to grow up. We are like newborn babies that haven't grown from pure spiritual milk to healthy adult food. So it's okay to be a newborn baby and to crave spiritual and pure spiritual milk so that we can grow up in salvation. But there has to come a time where we have to get on solid food and whole food, because when we get on solid spiritual food, that will prove that we are mature and that we have trained ourselves to distinguish good from evil. We have trained ourselves by way of having solid, mature food to distinguish right from wrong, good from evil, truth from a lie. Because it is time for us to grow up and stop being tossed to and fro like the waves and the wind. Thank you so much for your time. Please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Until next time, peace.
May the Lord bless you, keep you, and make His face shine upon you. As we abide in His grace, presence, and peace, remember that you are an agent of change wherever your feet shall tread. Thanks for listening to this message and for the opportunity to teach and lead you. Until next time.